A very good morning, students. Our session of SAPM, that is Security Analysis and Portfolio Management. Now, today we are going to have our new topic, that is evaluation of mutual funds. Now, in the last session, we already discussed about the concept of mutual funds. And today we are going to discuss about how the mutual funds are going to be evaluated on the basis of different models. Now, first and foremostly, it is really very important to make an evaluation of our portfolio. When portfolio is going to be evaluated on a proper basis, then definitely investor is able to generate the maximum risk out of that constructed portfolio. Now the same thing is applicable to the portfolio, or we can say that the same thing is applicable to the mutual funds. Now it is really very important to make evaluation of mutual fund, and this evaluation is done by the mutual fund companies. Now mutual fund companies are going to make evaluation by themselves, and on the basis of that evaluation they are able to judge the performance of security which is invested by them into different sources, into different types. Performance evaluation of any portfolio is the last stage in the portfolio management process, but it is a continuous process. When the portfolio is constructed, the first step, that is the construction, the first step, that is the selection of different security, and the last step, that is the evaluation of portfolio construction. The same thing is applicable to mutual funds. Now mutual fund is nothing but it is also the combinations of different portfolio which is constructed by mutual fund companies. As we already know that mutual fund is an investment vehicle. Through mutual funds we are able to make our investment possible. It channelizes the investable funds of an investor. It collects funds from the investors through different schemes and then invest in stocks, bonds and other security. Now mutual fund companies give different schemes to the investors, and on the basis of that scheme the mutual fund companies are going to make an investment into the different securities like stock, bond and others. And as far as the types of mutual funds are concerned, we can say that there are different two types of mutual funds are there, or we can say that the mutual fund units have two different types. The first one, that is open-ended fund, and the second one, that is closed-ended fund. Now the name itself suggests a closed-ended fund has a fixed maturity and it remains open only for the specific period of time. So when mutual fund company they are going to offer a particular mutual fund units to the investors, at that time when maturity is fixed by the mutual fund companies. So that unit is known as mutual fund unit of close-ended type. And in open-ended, the name itself suggests it remains open. There is no time limit for their unit. Means the maturity is not fixed. So investor can easily purchase and sold the mutual funds in the market as per their willingness. So there is no time bound in open-ended scheme. So basically now it is highly required to make a proper evaluation of different mutual funds. And through this mutual fund evaluation, mutual fund companies come to know about that how they are going to construct the portfolio as per the investor's choice. Basically, there are three different types through which the evaluation of mutual funds are possible. The first one, that is Sharpe's Performance Index, then after Jensen's model, and third one, that is Trainer's model. Now as far as your examination is concerned, here you are going to just remember the formula of these different models. Now let's discuss the first model, that is Sharpe's Performance Index. Now first and foremostly, let's have the discussion of theory part of Sharpe's Performance Index. Now for the performance based ranking of different portfolios or funds, Sharpe index provide a single value. So ranking is given in Sharpe's performance index when the evaluation of different funds are there. When mutual funds are going to make the evaluation of different funds, at that time, if they are adopting the Sharpe's performance index, so the Sharpe's performance index provide a single value after the evaluation, and on the basis of that single value, different ranks are assigned to the portfolio, and on the basis of that ranking, we can conclude that the funds are going to perform on the basis of that ranking provided by Sharpe's performance index. There is a relationship between risk premium of the portfolio and total amount of risk in the portfolio. Definitely, as you already know, that there is a direct relation is not available in any performance analysis of the portfolio. Higher the risk, higher the return. Lower the risk, lower the return. that already known to us, but if we are talking about the mutual fund, now in mutual fund it is possible that we are able to minimize our risk and we are able to maximize our return. Normally, Sharpe's performance index measures risk premium of the portfolio comparative to total amount of risk in the portfolio. So there is a relationship between risk premium and total amount of risk in that particular portfolio. So for the calculation of Sharpe's performance index, it is necessary for an investor to have a knowledge, or they must have the data about the total return of the portfolio, then after average return of the portfolio, risk-free rate of return, and the deviation of the fund, that is the risk of that particular fund. The formula is there, just we are reading the formula. Sharpe index is equal to average return of the portfolio minus risk-free rate of interest, that is divided by standard deviation of the portfolio return. A small table is given on the page number 121, that average annual rate of average annual return of fund is 0.1528 and for Y it is 0.0984. Then after risk-free rate of interest is given, then after risk is given. Now on the basis of the Sharpe's performance index are there, that is for fund X it is 0.64 and 0.75, that is for Y. So as far as we can conclude that investor is going to select fund Y because the average annual return of the fund is lower, but as far as the risk of the fund is there, the risk is also lower. So lower the return, lower the risk. That will end up with the increase in the performance index. Or we can say that this fund Y gave maximum return when the evaluation of the fund is there. So basically we are not going to make our decision when we just show the average return of the portfolio. First and foremostly we are going to make the analysis of average return, then after risk-free rate, and then after the risk attached with the particular portfolio. So it's about Sharpe's performance index. You are supposed to remember the formula of Sharpe's performance index. Then after next one, that is Trainer's performance index. Now in trainers performance index, we are going to understand the characteristic line in these trainers performance index. Now what is this characteristic line? We can see that characteristic line shows the relationship between a given market return and the fund's return. Here we are going to compare that what is the fund's return when the market return is higher or the market return is lower. So that relationship line is known as characteristic line. In that the return of individual fund and the market fund is going to be compared. Now, as far as the trainers performance index is concerned, these index measure whether the fund stands in the relation to general market in the term of its performance. Definitely, when the market moves up, in a normal situation, each and every security moves up. But here we are going to select those security whose performance is really very high when the market goes down. So, as far as the trainers performance index is concerned, they are putting focus on those security who are performing well when the market is moving downward. So that securities maximize the overall return of the portfolio as a whole. The fund that gives return at a rate faster than the rate at which market earns when market is moving upward, and the one whose return declines at a rate slower than the rate at which the market return declines when the market is moving downward is considered to be ideal fund. Definitely, if the market is moving upward at the rate of 20%, then definitely our security must perform greater than the market's performance. That our security must perform more than 20% when the market is moving upward. So it is totally depends upon the financial condition of the company whose portfolio is going to be measured. Here the formula is given to us that portfolio average return minus riskless rate of return, and that is divided by beta coefficient of the portfolio. So this is the formula of Trainer's Performance Index. Again, whose index is higher, that portfolio is going to be selected by the investment companies or the investors themselves. And the last formula, that is Jensen's Performance Index. In Jensen's Performance Index, two different types of returns are going to be compared. The actual return and the expected return. What the investors are expecting, that return is going to be compared by the actual return that the portfolio is given to the investors. The formula is that RP, that is portfolio return, is equal to RF. RF stands for riskless rate of return. Then after plus beta. Beta stands for the risk of the portfolio. In a bracket RM. RM, that is expected return from the portfolio, minus RF. RF stands for risk-free return of the portfolio. So now on the basis of these formula, the different expected return of the portfolios are able to calculate it, and on the basis of that the rank is going to assign. Means the portfolio who performs well, who satisfied the expectation of the investors, that is, that portfolio, that security is selected by the mutual fund companies or by the investors. And the last point, that is NAV calculation of mutual fund. NAV stands for net assets value. Now here we are going to calculate the net assets value of the mutual funds. Here we are going to make a comparison between assets and liability, which is there for the particular mutual fund companies. Here we are going to see that, or we are going to calculate the amount which the shareholders will collectively get if the firm is liquidated, and that is known as the net assets value. If the funds are illiquid in the nature, then the value of shareholders will be declined. So, mutual fund companies are going to have those types of assets in that, in which the liquidity will be maximum to maximum. Here the formula is given to us, that is NAV is equal to assets minus liability divided by total number of outstanding shares. That we already know. The second method, that is about NAV is equal to market value of security plus other assets minus total liability, that is divided by unit outstanding as at the NAV date. So normally we are going to consider the first formula, that is assets minus liability divided by total numbers of outstanding shares. Now there are few factors that need to be considered at the time of NAV calculation. Under that, the first one, that is purchase and sale of investment securities. Here we are going to consider the time period at which the securities are going to be purchased and sale. Second one, market value of all the securities, the assets and liabilities of the organization. And the last one, that is the numbers of units sold and purchased during the particular financial year. So on the basis of that, net assets value is going to be calculated. So that's all about NAV calculation. It is really very simple point, not important as far as your examination is concerned. So here we are ending our unit number 5. So our syllabus is completed, that is security analysis and portfolio management. Thank you students. Thank you so much.